bipartisan voice vote signaled the end of the sometimes rocky road for the legislation in Congress. House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer.
This legislation represents a bipartisan resolve.
While a majority of Republicans joined Democrats in voting for the bill, a small group, including Colorado's Ken Buck, opposed the measure.
As President Trump said, we cannot let the cure be worse than the problem itself.
Lawmakers are already talking about what should be in a fourth relief package. Bill Rakoff, CBS News, Washington.
President Trump used Twitter to urge GM and Ford to step up efforts to build badly needed ventilators, warning he could invoke the Defense Production Act to force them to do so. WWJ's Jeff Gilbert.
The president's threats come as GM has been working to start ventilator production at an Indiana plant, and Ford has been working with 3M and GE on medical supplies, including ventilators. The companies say they've been looking at every possible part and harnessing the abilities of their suppliers as well.
A warning that some parts of the country face more bad news on the virus.
Earlier this week, Surgeon General Jerome Adams warned this week was going to be a bad one. Now he tells CBS this morning,
we're hopeful that next week New York will start to come down because, again, their cases have started to level off, and that's because they've been aggressive about their mitigation efforts. We see that now the places that have been aggressive about staying at home, about keeping under groups of 10 have been successful. But we also see hot spots like Detroit, like Chicago, like New Orleans, that will have a worse week next week than what they had this week.
Steve Kathan, CBS News.
It's already a dire situation in some New York City hospitals.
People come in, they get intubated, they die, the cycle repeats.
Dr. Steve Casapidis works at a hospital in Queens. In Britain, Prime Minister Boris Johnson revealed he tested positive for the coronavirus. And a new report indicates autism is increasing in the U.S., Bud Michigan reports.
A new report from the CDC indicates 1 in 54 U.S. children were diagnosed with having autism in 2016. That's up from 1 in 59 in 2014 and 1 in 68 in 2012. The CDC study indicates there's no longer a gap between the number of white and black children diagnosed, though black children tend to get diagnosed at an older age.
On Wall Street, the Dow is down 601 points. This is CBS News.
You can listen to CBS News Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on radio.com or the radio.com app. Download it today.
It's 11:03 at the Bay Area's news station KCBS. Expect a whole lot of sunshine with mild temperatures throughout the afternoon today. Good morning, I'm Melissa Colross. Rebecca Corral is away today, and here's what's happening. The coronavirus pandemic continues to batter the Bay Area, upsetting daily life like nothing we've seen before. We get the latest updates from KCBS reporter Jim Taylor, who joins us live. Jim.
Life continues to play out like some sort of weird science fiction movie, doesn't it? Streets are deserted, store shelves emptying, so many businesses are shut down, and we are told it may get worse before it gets better. One San Jose official suggesting that city alone could see 2,000 deaths, and that's if people comply with shelter-in-place and social distancing. Other emergency service folks in the South Bay distancing themselves from that projection. Some of the local impact changing as we speak. Transit services, Caltrain shutting down its service by more than half. BART already stopping service at 9 p.m. VTA eliminating light rail service, and Smart Trains cutting back in the North Bay too. If you go out this weekend and fail to adhere to social distancing rules, you may encounter the long arm of the law. KCBS's Tim Ryan.
Parks, beaches, and hiking trails almost needed traffic hubs last weekend, and for the health of our community, that can't happen again. The instruction to police who have the authority to issue citations:
do everything you can to engage in gentle persuasion or strong persuasion to get people to comply. And that before you go around citing them.
That's San Mateo County District Attorney Steve Wagstaff.
But if somebody just says, no, I'm not going to follow the law, I don't care about the law, cite them and we'll prosecute them. If that's what it takes, we'll do it. We don't want to. We don't want to use, as the governor said, we don't want to use the hammer. We want people to recognize it's a crisis.
Most of the parks and beaches will have parking lots locked to minimize crowds. Violations of the health order are misdemeanors punishable by jail time and fines to $1,000. And it is the same story for the businesses that should not be open. Tim Ryan, KCBS.
Some of those businesses are restaurants, and so many are closed around the Bay Area. A lot of restaurant suppliers also hurting during the crisis. As KCBS's Matt Wiggler reports, some local fishermen are finding new ways to get
folks started stocking up for the shelter-in-place, fish and seafood probably weren't at the top of their shopping lists. But that may be changing as time goes on.
People are starting to think, you know what, it's time to cook creatively, it's time to have some high-quality protein in my diet, and are starting to think seafood.
The challenge, says Noah Oppenheim, executive director of the Pacific Coast Federation of Fishermen, is how to get fresh fish to consumers. In some cases, he says, fishermen are selling to CFAs, Community Fisheries Associations, which offer pickup or home delivery of local seafood. One fishing company finding new markets for its product is Water to Table at Fisherman's Wharf, where co-owner Joe Conti tells KPIX5,
when the delivery systems and the supermarkets are failing, there's nothing more pure than just getting fish directly from fishermen and bringing it straight to people's homes. It's as basic as it gets.
To find a CFA near you, check out localcatch.org. Matt Bigler, KCBS.
Well-documented spike in healthcare workers getting the coronavirus. Union leaders representing healthcare workers calling on the city of San Francisco to come up with a comprehensive plan to better protect hospital staff. Reporting live, Jim Taylor, KCBS.
Thank you very much, Jim. While Southwest Airlines plans to cancel 1,500 daily flights beginning today as the effect of the coronavirus outbreak continues to send shockwaves through the airline industry. That cutback represents nearly a 40% reduction in flights for Southwest, which is the country's largest domestic air carrier. Southwest CEO Gary Kelly says the airline is losing massive amounts of money on every nearly empty flight. Airlines also, in general, are revamping their food, drink, and seating policies in an effort to curb the spread of the virus that causes COVID-19. Beginning today, American Airlines will offer limited food and beverage options to provide provide for social distancing and minimal contact between flight attendants and customers. Just ahead on KCBS, a new kind of drive-through for the coronavirus era coming this weekend to the North Bay. KCBS News Time, traffic and weather time. For the traffic portion, we turn to George Rass.
Melissa, it's a car fire that started